What is up, guys? Hey, it's BarrowsBOY making a YouTube video. He must want to rant about something, and you're absolutely right. But coming out of my brief little content break, because I think this is important to talk about. If you've never seen Dark and Darker, well, welcome. It's a wonderful game. It's really cool, but let's cut to the chase. Here's what I want to talk about, and it's about the in-game shop in the Dark and Darker playtest. I'm going to go ahead and flip over to the Discord of Dark and Darker and the announcement that they made about the game. We're launching the game today. We're still in a lawsuit, but we're launching the game today. And I want to preface what I'm about to say with, I understand that the games industry is broken right now. I am fully aware that we're in a really bad spot. Microtransactions, loot boxes, all this shit, because of how hard it is to make a successful game in this current gaming climate. Gamers don't want to pay $60 for a game that lasts for 5 minutes that's not AAA. Those are really for casual gamers who get the most out of those AAA games, but maybe don't appreciate indie games as much at the lower price points. So, before we get into this, I want to say I approve wholeheartedly of the two purchase options that Ironmace has provided for Dark and Darker. I think 35 and 50 pass the eye test, and I'm going to refer to this eye test a couple times in this video. What I mean by the eye test is, can you look at what that is and say it's worth it? Is it a cash grab, or is it something that, you know, a regular player would say, that's worth doing? I feel this is worth it for me. I think both the $35 price point and the $50 Hold the Line Founders Edition, while the $50 version does not provide a ton of extra stuff, those extra $15 you're spending were well earned by Ironmace with all the goodwill and all the, quite honestly, just really well done stuff that they've managed to do. Now, here's where the problem is. Would I have paid $50 for this game if I saw this paragraph and knew what I was getting into? Maybe not. Let's talk about it. I'll go ahead and read this. We want to address the elephant in the room and talk about the addition of the in-game shop. Our assumption when we started this company was that you could still build a lucrative business while being true to your fans. The in-game shop is our attempt at being realistic with the business of running an online game, but trying to find a way to do it without resorting to random loot boxes and fear of missing out items, FOMO items. We want to offer players a fair way to support us while enjoying the game. Please let us know how you think we're doing on this front. In addition to the in-game shop, we've added a Founders Edition / add-on pack to show our appreciation to the loyal fans who've stuck with us through this crazy journey through the platform you purchase the game. Now, let's ignore the platform you purchase the game on. Chaff Games, there's been some issues. Blacksmith, there's been some issues. We're going to chalk it up to tech issues, and we're probably not going to talk a lot about the things that are wrong with those two things, because there's a lot of things that are very wrong with them, and we're probably rushed, which is not something you like to see, but we'll ignore that for now. What I want to talk about is this elephant in the room and the in-game shop. So if you go in-game and you take a look at the shop, you'll see that there's these shards that you can earn through Triumph, and there's these redstone shards that you can purchase for real-world dollars. Here's an important thing to note. If you would like to spend almost as much money as you spent buying the game, / slightly more if you bought the $35 version, you can get 20 of these redstone shards, which amounts to 5 playable races, 4 playable classes, or in the case of some of these, you know, emotes and things, it varies all over the place. But regardless, what I really want to hammer home is that one of these shards is $2. You can pay $2 to get thumbs down, $2 to get thumbs up. You can pay only $8 to receive the Carol emote. This is exclusive to real world money. You cannot unlock it through other means. It's an interesting emote. Is it worth $8? Personally, I wouldn't say so, but we continue on. There's all sorts of emotes that in the past were earned and unlockable through in-game things like the skewered food, like the defeat emote, the cheers emote. I was able to buy pretty much all of these in previous playtests by just playing the game. It was lovely. Now, in OnePeg's video, and I'll link it in the description, he talks about the devs' kind of current understanding of how hard it is going to be to unlock these shards. As you can see, I've played for about a day and a half. I am halfway to my first shard. I want to talk about why this 12 out of 25 is inherently predatory. I want to talk about how an emote costing $8 is inherently predatory. And I want to talk about why I think Ironmace is kind of betraying their player base a little bit and going back on something that they said that they were committed to. But I first want to talk about this Discord post because it's where most of my point lies. So we'll switch back to that in the edit. Hello, edit. You're back on the thing. I didn't have to say anything. Anyway, point is, the in-game shop. There's a very important word in here, and I will be very clear. There is very potentially a translation error here. In look, the choice of wording is important, and I'm going to read into it, and whether or not you approve of that reading into is up to you. But for me, it means a lot and says a lot about the direction Ironmace is going to be taking dark and darker. Firstly, we will talk about lucrative. Now, if you look up a dictionary definition of lucrative, you're going to see very profitable. That's pretty much the too long didn't read. That's not what we as gamers want. We're not here to support a team that is in it to create and I quote, build a lucrative business while still being true to your fans. I don't think any of us were here to make millionaires. We were here to play a game and support a dev company that seemed to be at its core, hopefully changing the scope of, what we expect from games these days. This is the type of language that I would expect to see in like a press release or like a leak from like the inside of Blizzard or EA. Lucrative business, to create a lucrative business. That's worrying. And the reason it's worrying is, well, it is what it is. The devs have literally said outright, we would like to create a very profitable business. Now, again, one business that is successful versus one business that can stand its own and pay its employees, those are very different things, and reading into the idea that they've said lucrative is certainly something that might be out of turn. But it's what it says, and it's worrying. Now, talking about what they're offering and actually breaking down some of these purchasable options, not only should, in my opinion, all playable classes be available to you from the get-go, but these classes right now are some of the, as far as I'm concerned, most underpowered classes, and I know there's going to be some people that disagree with that, but you also don't get to test these classes and see whether you like them. I personally purchased the Warlock immediately, assuming these blue stones would be a little easier to earn. Turns out, not the case. They're actually a pain in the ass to earn. But regardless, some of these characters and classes, for example, the Orc, is actually a really valuable thing. Losing agility in favor of some strength, a choice that, excuse me, a lot of people are going to want to make. Or you could buy the female Orc. The fact that there's two separate is, again, a little predatory. Like, I don't know. The idea that they have this, we don't want to have fear of missing out on items stance, and which I think they've accomplished to some degree, given that these are permanent unlocks. This menu will theoretically be here forever, but you're kidding yourself if you don't think they're going to be continuously releasing things for this, encouraging you to play incredibly long hours, and again, using this incredibly predatory system where you build up to this massive level 25, and you go, at first I thought, oh, I've already earned 3 of the shards, that's fantastic. No, you haven't. You've earned 12 out of 25 of the first one. And again, if we're to believe what we're hearing, the shards become more and more difficult to earn. That is a terrible, terrible predatory system, and one that I can mention right now as a great example is the Apex Legends Battle Pass. If you've ever played Apex Legends, you know you can buy Battle Pass levels, and that towards the end of the season, myself and many other gamers, I'm sure, copium, have purchased Battle Pass levels to try to get to the higher, stages where there are cosmetics they want. Unfortunately, for me, and probably a lot of other people, you would discover that upon reaching higher levels of the Battle Pass, it costs even more money to level single levels. That is what this current system is doing, and it is entirely built around the idea of convincing people to pay real-world dollars instead of playing the game to do it. This system, inherently, is encouraging you to use your real-world money, and again, it does not pass the eye test. These are absolute ripoffs, because at the end of the day, it should be worth your money. If you're going to offer cosmetics for money, it should be worth the money. And while I appreciate the idea that people who aren't able to play for long hours because they have a great job and they can afford to dump several $100s into cosmetics for a game, paying $6 for a curtsy emote in a game that, quite frankly, does not encourage emoting very much. There's not a lot of room for it, but you have it, and there's definitely some fun moments that'll come for it. But that does not pass the test. A fifth of the game, you're telling me? You would pay almost a fifth of the game's price to curtsy, and that's the only way you can get this emote. That's it. Not to mention that there's some weird, like, you know, separation between the bow and the curtsy. For some reason, the generically female option is only available through paying. We won't get there. That's a whole nother topic and probably not worth discussing because it's, you know, it's not really that big of a deal, I'm sure. But I did want to talk about this. I did want to get this off my chest. Again, I think the post is to be taken at face value. I don't think we should look at, we want to create a lucrative business while still being true to our fans, and take this shop as being true to the fans of the game and true to the people who really did believe in Ironmace's mission statement. Though I understand, and I probably have not hammered this home enough, and there's probably already comments on this video, given that I'm probably going to post it to Reddit, about how, oh, they're fighting a lawsuit, they need to make as much money as possible, and I totally understand that. But all that being said, this game is going to be wildly successful if they continue down the path they're going. But right now, the only thing that Dark and Darker has proved to me is that this is a fantastic game for 2 weeks at a time. I do not know how long this game has in terms of longevity. It, right now, really rings to me exactly like New World did. I loved New World. I thought I would play the game for years. Truly. From playtest to playtest to playtest, from betas, whatever the case may be. I enjoyed playing that game for a full month and would not stop playing. About the same with Dark and Darker, and I worry about the longevity of this game because it's an unknown. We don't know what this game looks like when it's out for more than X amount of time. And given this current system and the idea that the developers have made some very clear choices with monetary purchases in early access, and that's another important part that I've kind of glossed over. This is early access, which definitively means there's going to be bugs, there's going to be issues, you're going to lose your loot. You could be paying for things in an unfinished game. That is a scary precedent, and I think it is very worth worrying about. I don't think it's worth freaking out about, but it is worth vocalizing, and it is worth expressing to Ironmace, and that's what this video is about, expressing that this does not feel right. These prices, if you're going to actually pay for things, are way too high, and I think for the average player, I think they've grossly overestimated what the average player, like their playtime when they play this game. I am definitely an above average player. I would like to think that in a couple days I would have one of these stones. And given the fact that they're, and again, I could be wrong about this, please correct me. Given the fact that the stones are supposed to be harder and harder to earn as you move on. I don't know, man. Anyway, I want to keep this video brief. I don't want to ramble too much. TLDR, I am worried. I love Dark and Darker. I have had so much fun with it. And Ironmace has garnered so much goodwill from me and thousands of other people who have played their game. They are absolutely the underdog story, and I appreciate that so much. But this feels like caving to pressure almost instantly and backtracking on everything you stood for almost instantly as soon as you got a chance to launch your game. This game release strikes me as a, we had to do this because we're running out of money. It strikes me as a, like, necessary step that they had to take. But you can release the game. You could easily open up a donation portal for people to give you more money and say, really forthcomingly, hey, this lawsuit has hit us really hard. We're running out of money. We could really use help. If you feel like donating to this project and would like some sort of, I don't know, special Discord title or title in the game, things that are absolutely not gameplay related. And let's be clear, everything but the emotes in here the classes especially, is gameplay related. This changes how you play the game, and as a result, if you want to unlock, you know, every class and you did not pay for the $50 version, this is going to take a long time to get this page. You're only needing to buy 4 out of the 5 here. But based on what Ironmace has said themselves, the average gamer in a season is not going to be able to unlock all this, which means they're not going to have access to all of the content in the game, and therefore probably have a disadvantage. I think that's fair to say. Now, is it a really small disadvantage? It probably doesn't matter at all. Yes, but a lot of this is principle based, and a lot of this is eye test based. And right now, I'm looking at Dark and Darker, and I'm looking at what the devs have said, and I'm looking at what is on my screen, and it makes me feel uneasy. Tell me what you guys think, though. I'm sure I'm worried about nothing. I have a lot of faith in Ironmace, and part of the reason I'm making this video is I think that they will watch videos like this, and they will make decisions based on watching videos like this, and hopefully revert some of these things and maybe make changes to the bluestone system, blue shard system. Quite honestly, I don't even know what they're called, which is maybe a result of a lack of research. But I love a lot of the changes that have come to the game in terms of gameplay so far that I've seen. I approve of them wholeheartedly. This doesn't sit well with me, and it's why I made this video. And before I keep going, I'm going to end it there. I'm sure I missed a load of things. I will reply to comments if you have questions, or if you disagree with me. I would love to have a reasonable discourse. And I am definitely playing devil's advocate in this video, but it is something that I do think I feel right now. I look at this and I go, this doesn't feel right. So I look forward to your guys' responses if you have them. And if you watch this video from Reddit and you somehow made it all the way through, or another social media platform, good for you. Drop something in the comments, like an emoji or like a hold the line or something silly, so that I know you made it all the way through, because I appreciate that so much. And it's good to know who's commenting, having listened to everything I said. Thanks for watching. Hold the line, baby. We held the line. We're here. We're playing Dark and Darker. Let's not forget it. That is awesome. That is super exciting. But this feels wrong.